Thursday Night Live with Bill Tucci.
Behold his mighty hand.
Tucci gang, Tucci gang, Tucci gang, Tucci gang, Tucci gang, Tucci gang, Tucci gang.
Just want to manage expectations.
Weird.
This is the worst.
My God.
Welcome, Mr. Peros. Welcome all. Good to see you guys here on Thursday Night Live with Billy Tucci, Mr. Producer.
That's absolutely right.
Why not? I want to say hello. Christy Shin is here. Hi, Christy. We had dinner with Christy in San Diego on Friday evening at that game dinner. Remember that cool?
Of course. A delight was had by one and all.
Yep. The great Dan Genovese is here. Paulus Arts is here. He wants to be cast as her costume.
Oh, I know what that means.
Cheeky. Heroinberg, always great to see you. Southern Cecil. Ara Galanian, the Armenian Knight, is in the audience. Thank you all for joining us. We're gonna have a fun show tonight. Nefarious, good to see you too. Fat Samurai. We're on the Facebook as well. Let me save that and actually share that. For some reason, whenever I do a show on the Facebook, it locks it in that it's only for me. It doesn't go with the public or the friends or anything like that. Very
well,
strict.
you know, Billy Tucci, if you were stranded on a desert island and had to take one show with you to watch, it would be Thursday Night Live with Billy Tucci.
Thank you.
I
Hey,
mean,
do I look fat in this shirt? This is like an extra large. It's like, do I look fat?
what do you need extra larges for?
I don't know. I just found it. It's old. So I don't know.
You look great. And you dressed well. You dressed for the occasion.
I sure did, didn't I? I was trying to find like at one of my old army berets to wear like the director.
I dressed Japanese cinema.
Oh.
Because we're
Speaking
talking
of
about,
Godzilla, Peros, what did you think of Godzilla -1?
I thought it was extraordinary. I really did. Did you see it?
Yes, I did. We took the whole family.
It sounds like you were slightly disappointed. I'm sorry to say.
No, not at all. I thought it was incredible. I thought everything about it I liked.
Yeah. There was I don't know whether this is an apocryphal tale or the truth, but it is true that Ishiro Honda, the director of Godzilla and so many kaiju films, so many Godzilla films, was good friends with Akira Kurosawa, which is true. They came up together in Japanese cinema. They came up the system as it exists in Japanese cinema. Unlike the U.S., you actually get your foot in the door. You work for a certain number of years as an assistant director, and you move from assistant director to director. That does not happen in the U.S. So they came up together and then went different paths. But Kurosawa always made it known that it is said that he always made it known not only to Ishiro Honda, but to Toho Studios, that he'd like to direct a Godzilla movie. And because he was so big, Kurosawa, I think they thought it would be too expensive. It wouldn't be on brand, and it just never went past. But when I see Godzilla -0, it is the closest thing, no, -1, I'm sorry, -1, to what it would have been like if Kurosawa had directed a Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
It's a movie that it's very rare you have a movie that transcends genre. It's a film you don't have to apologize for or explain, as one does, why you love Godzilla movies. People can just see this film and they will understand just a great film that is beyond the love of kaiju or giant monster cinema.
Sure.
It's just a great story. It's emotional. The effects are extraordinary because they stay focused on the story and not on trying to impress you with the scale or scope of it.
Right.
It's genuinely probably the most ferocious, frightening version of Godzilla we'll ever see.
There were terrifying scenes when he first comes ashore. It truly was. And I got to tell you, if my two sons weren't flanking me and my wife was one seat away, I might have wept at the end.
Wow, the whole family went to the movies.
Yeah.
Wow. And what were the reviews mixed?
No, the boys loved it. Debbie's like, well, I wasn't crazy about the story. I'm like, you of all people, I look at this man who's a failed kamikaze pilot. You know, he's a coward, and he comes back in disgrace. And what are you kidding me? You know, and it's all about family and how they come together. And at the end, and it's kind of, you love happy endings. You know, and like that was all for you, for people.
Yes, right, right, exactly.
But I know William's gone and seen it again. And I don't know if you saw that they're going to be releasing it in limited, even though it was a limited originally, in black and white.
Yes, and apparently they're not just turning on the filter. You know, they're not just like lowering the bar on the TV. Apparently, well, you know, when you watch the film, if you really know the Godzilla films, and particularly the original Japanese version of Gojira, which became Godzilla King of the Monsters a year later in the US with a lot of American scenes cut in. This Godzilla -1 and Gojira are companion pieces in their darkness. They take place, you know, at that time. It is about Godzilla's first appearance after World War II. It is about emotional reactions, guilt, shame equated with World War II. Two totally different stories, but they are both, in a sense, first movies. And they would do that a lot with the Godzilla series throughout. They've had over 50 years of Godzilla movies, and they aren't all sequels to each other. There are a few maybe in a row that were, but very often they would each movie would be the second Godzilla movie. So they might acknowledge the first one from 1954, but nothing that came in between. So it's really interesting that they and they're correct. The audiences were not looking for continuity. As we got into the 90s, they might do 2 or 3 in a row that were one long story. 2000s, they did that as well. But these recent ones, this and Shin Godzilla a few years ago, because that's their deal Toho made with the Legendary and Warner Brothers, was to Toho, when a Legendary is between movies, they can make a movie.
Oh, okay.
And so that's why they were able to make Godzilla -1, because there was going to be a little time between the two Kong versus Godzilla movies.
Yeah, which I think. Yeah, I thought it was. I don't know. I think that. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, Brian Blevins.
Well, look who it is.
Everybody.
They say.
Learned some Godzilla facts that I did not know, or maybe I didn't know, and I'm just going to pretend I didn't know.
Yeah. Steve, have you seen this Herwenberg currently watching Monarch, Legacy of Monsters TV series? It's as worth watching as Godzilla -1.
Well, you know, Herwenberg, I saw the pilot episode on the big screen. There was an event here in Los Angeles at the Directors Guild, and I got to see it on the big screen. Godzilla only makes a brief appearance, as you know, in the pilot. Kurt Russell doesn't come in till the end of episode 2 or something. You know, it's well done. I like it. I don't love it. I think I'm 3 episodes in, and you know, unfortunately, it can't help but be watched in the shadow of Godzilla -1. You know, and the power of that film.
Yeah, I watched all of it, all the way up to the most latest episode, and you know, like the thing about it is it's based off the new series, the new USA series. You know, not the Matthew Broderick Godzilla, but the new, you know, Godzilla King of Monsters versus Kong, Mecha Godzilla,
Godzilla King of the Monsters,
Rodan. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's that deal, but I wish they would have done a little more with it. You know, Jeff Bezos them could have put some more. They could have put some more money in it to make it a little more monster. But it's about the company. It's not about the monsters.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing that I'm just kind of like, nah.
Well, it's
Not
awfully
unlike-
expensive. How many hours? How many episodes were there? 6, 8?
There's 10 episodes.
10 hours. If they did the kind of monster effect sequences, that would have just been prohibitively expensive. So they have these little, they might have one or two at least for the first 3 episodes, 1 or 2 set pieces. But like most TV, it's a lot of talking heads. And I just don't, I find them doling out story rather slowly in this series.
They could have sped it up. They could have sped it up a little bit without actually showing the monsters, just showing like the after effects, like the water splashing up with them going in the water. I mean, like it didn't that didn't stop big productions like Transformers Bumblebee. I don't know if you saw that with John Cena, but they had like a really awesome car, and it's John Cena standing next to the robot, and then it cuts to the scene of just the robot. And then it cuts to John Cena. He's talking to it, and while he's talking, you hear, and then it cuts back, and it's the car. Like they don't show the animation of It's just how they cut a bunch of money out.
Well, I mean that Kurt Russell costs a couple of dollars, so
yeah, I bet you they blew all their budget on Kurt Russell. Anyway, JC Vaughn, welcome. You're muted. Tex.
You're muted, brother.
You son of a.
Still muted.
It's the microphone thing. Come on, you've been doing this for 12 years.
I haven't.
You're a little muted.
There you go.
I had a problem with the camera that started the whole evening. So there you go. So yeah, are we talking the computer wore tennis shoes here, or what are we talking about Kurt Russell for?
Well, no, we're now going to dive into She. So as you guys know, and maybe people out there don't know, we've been talking to some producers. Seems to be some interest in bringing Shy to the big or small screens. We'll see how this works out. But in the meantime, Jeff and I were doing an interview for the She #1 30th Anniversary Original Art Edition. And we just got into the idea of casting She.
Both then, back in the day, and now.
Right. So then and now. So that's why I want to put it out for the panelists and even for you guys out there in the audience. It's 1994, 1995. Who would you guys think about for in the cast of She, of the characters? I have some images. We could pull up the images of the main members of the cast. Some fun stuff. I had gotten a call from 2 producers who was Sandra Bullock, who had not yet done Speed, that she was interested in doing an action film, unless Speed came out in 93. I thought Speed came out in 94, or maybe it was right after Speed or whatever. It was 1994, late 94, when they had called me. And
well, before Speed, she was in, was it Demolition Man with
I think that was after Speed, but
was she in the net?
And more importantly, she was in one of the $6 Million Man movies.
Oh, well, I'm like, well, yeah, that's great. I don't do any of this. I'll get a lawyer and you can get, get your guys to talk to my lawyers and we'll work something out. Nothing like that happened.
Well, let's, I'll tell you what was obviously what everybody knows and what's already been mentioned in the chat. And you'd have to be an insanely new She fan to not know that Tia Carrere was attached to the earliest film incarnation back in 94. Was it, Billy? 95?
Yeah, 90. Well,
96.
She had reached out to us in early, either late 95 or late 94 or 90, early 95.
I mean, here's the thing. We're going to have a discussion about this. We could certainly talk about who was around then. But right now, a movie of She, and it doesn't even matter the fact that it would be a relatively expensive, potentially expensive film, is that the time that we are living in now, you can't just cast an Asian actress as Anna. You would have to cast a Japanese actress as Anna.
Yes.
So I forget what ethnicity is nationality is Tia Carrere.
She's Hawaiian.
Mhm.
And
Pacific Islander. Okay.
so I think she's of Filipino descent.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
again, the same thing.
At,
When we,
at yeah, 94, San Diego, 1994.
yeah, I mean, when we talk about Tia Carrera, Lucy Liu is mentioned back in the day. Lucy Liu is Chinese.
Who mentioned Lucy Liu?
What's that?
Who mentioned Lucy Liu?
Well, why
A
wouldn't
lot of
someone?
people did. Steve and I did the rounds when we did the rounds with Ely Samaha when Steve and I wrote the screenplay for them. They were all about Lucy Liu after Tia and her husband got divorced.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Because he still had the rights to it, you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm just really glad that didn't happen.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean,
yeah, sure.
Like she's like 4.5 feet tall.
Yeah, and then
I literally I don't care about. I could care less. She could be 3 feet tall. I don't care.
Yeah. Then we had another producer for a long time, and she was very interested in Lucy Liu, and also what's her name from the Memoirs of a Geisha.
Mm-hmm.
What's her name?
Oh,
I actually met with her.
Tiger Hidden Dragon.
Yeah, the girl who's from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. What's her name? The young one.
God, and Rush Hour 2, and she will not be in the sequel. I can't remember what her name was.
Yeah. Why am I blanking? Someone in the chat, for God's sakes, please. Who's the actress from Memoirs of a Geisha? And
Zhang Ziyi.
Yes, Zhang Ziyi.
Thank you.
And she was adorable. She was really sweet. As was Tia. Was amazing. I never got to meet Lucy Liu. I did meet. Why not share some of these cool photos I have, if that's okay with you guys?
Well, Billy, if you get to one, hold back on that.
I am going to hold back on that one. I just I will definitely hold back on that one. Let me find the. Okay. All right.
NSFW.
Yeah. So there's me, Kelly Hu, and I at a con. Met Kelly several times. She's a sweetheart, and she's gorgeous.
I met her at your booth. She was really nice.
Very, very nice. So we go to 1996. There's a lot of interest in she, and it kind of. Well, Jeff, if you want to jump in now, because that was one of our first conversations, I think, right?
Okay, Billy and I had met in long enough for him to sign my She poster at San Diego in '94. But by 1995, I was at Overstreet, and we were talking on a pretty regular basis. I knew, and I've told the story a bunch of times, how when I saw She #1, it was on the top rack, 3 rows away from me at my comic shop in Hearst, Texas, Heroes. And I saw it, and I go, "Oh, what's that?" And immediately, I thought of a friend of mine who was just starting out as an actress, and didn't think a whole lot more of it except this would be really cool. She could do this. And then I think prior to San Diego, so it would have been prior to San Diego in '95. So probably about 4 months prior to that, the first cover I ever commissioned was the She variant of Overstreet's Fan #3, which we had as a San Diego variant. And when we cracked them out of the boxes and were giving them away at the show, they were going for $15 a pop. It was crazy. Yeah, right. And then Billy and I were getting to be friends. And by Chicago Comic Con, which was, I think, about to become Wizard World, I think it was still Chicago Comic Con at that point.
Okay.
We're walking around. We're both been talking to a million people, and we're like, we're talking like this. So we go get some ice cream, and we're walking along eating ice cream cones. And Billy says the immortal line, "Tia Carrera keeps calling me." and as a true friend, guy, looking to build this relationship, I volunteered to take that off his hands.
What a nice guy. What a nice guy.
I just, I'm glad to help out. And he goes, yeah, she wants to play She, and I don't know. There's this other actress I like, and her name, she's been on ER, and she was in the Joy Luck Club, and her name's Ming something. I said, Ming Na Wen. And he goes, yeah, I don't know if she should play She or Tomo, but she's really good. And I go, well, you want me to send her your stuff? Because Ming's been my friend since high school. And they eventually ended up connecting, and it wasn't a point in her career where she could get something made, and it was before Agents of Shield, and it was before it was before a lot of stuff, and certainly before Star Wars. But honestly, I thought somebody at the office had put him up to it because they all knew I was friends with her.
Right, and then Jeff introduced us. I have a cool photo of her. Look at me, all these beautiful women.
And yeah, it's a great scam. It's a great scam. Too bad you're married,
Yeah, right. I know. Like I would have such a chance with him. But
JC is a trooper, bro.
Yeah, but thanks to Jeff, of course, thanks to JC, I got to meet, Ming several times. I actually had lunch with her at a con. She actually invited me when she was doing that show in 95 to come to the set, but I was so far away that I couldn't make it by the time they would have stopped working. What show was that? Was Jonathan Silverman on the show or something?
Yeah, the what was it? The Lonely. It was like the single guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
So and she's amazing too. But Steven hit on a really very, very strong point. And because Steve and I had this conversation when it comes to producers and things like that. But definitely an actress, I think it cannot just be an Asian woman. She has to be a woman of Asian.
Listen, here's the thing. I don't buy it. I like Helen Mirren as Golda Meir, and I think actors are actors.
Well, yeah, there are there's two different things we're talking about here. What is the industry doing, and what is our opinion about it? And I understand what you are saying, Tex, but the fact is that for a let's talk about the film that was made. There's the Marvel film that did well, that had Asian characters. I don't follow the Marvel films. Which was that one? It came out 2 years ago. What was it?
Shang-Chi.
Yes. So that ethnicity is what? Japanese or Chinese?
Chinese.
And the actor, was he Chinese?
I believe so.
I have no idea. By comparison to the most recent Marvel films, yes, it did well. By comparison to the previous ones, no, it did not.
Yeah, and that's always been, well, first off, it's going to be no secret to everybody on this panel and anybody who's watching that this is a business. And so for the reason she hasn't been made so far, and there are different periods of success or lack of success of certain arenas of, she unfairly is just grouped into comic book movies.
Sure.
Because she's a much more complicated character than that. But she wears an outfit. She kicks ass. So the laymen, producers who are trying to make movies that make a lot of money, which means they're not catering to comic book fans, they're catering to people who just watch movies. They lump it in with comic books. Therefore, they watch and they say, okay, for a long time, if the superhero was not a white male, they weren't going to make it. They just and the record will show they didn't make it. They would put their toe in the water with female characters, and except for Tomb Raider, they did not have happy returns financially. Whether it was and that started with Halle Berry as Catwoman, and then it went up to Jennifer Garner as, who did she play again? Electra. So again, every time they would go, we just had a hit with a guy, and we have that another. Oh, it didn't do well. So I've been a professional screenwriter since 1991. I remember being in meetings being told that about you can't really cast black actors. What's that?
Levins, mute yourself.
Levins, mute yourself. We hear you typing.
You're banging away.
Just hit mute on your microphone or something. That you couldn't cast black actors in things that require a global income to make their money back. So only the things that were going to make their money back domestically, because the rest of the world doesn't want to see movies. Just historically, in terms of finances, won't go as much to movies that have black actors top lining as white actors. Okay, and then Black Panther comes out and changes that entire opinion. Hollywood has these opinions about things, and they're often right based on something from the past, and then something happens that proves the only thing for sure is we don't know anything. And so then I thought things were going to kick into gear again for She when that Chinese themed Marvel film did, as Jeff kind of said, good but not extraordinarily well.
Yeah, and the great thing here is that you're so right about, Steve, is that Hollywood is following their trends, whether they're interpreting them correctly and whether it's good business decisions or not. That's like 12 other shows for us to do.
Right.
But the fact that they do think this way, you're dead on. I know it.
Mm-hmm.
It just like the perfect thing for me, sort of not as a comic book guy, sort of as a comic book guy, is the two great examples you used: Halle Berry as Catwoman and Jennifer Garner as Elektra. Those are awful movies.
I know.
They're not just awful superhero movies either. They're awful movies.
Yes, but Hollywood, when they spend a lot of money on a commercial film, they want to know it doesn't need to be good to make money. As we know with the Joel Schumacher Batman movies, they made a lot of money. Even the lousy ones made money because people went regardless. They were review proof. Catwoman was not review proof. Elektra was not review proof, and that's a
really good point. Mm-hmm. I wrote a review of Schumacher's second Batman movie, or for whatever it was, first movie, the Batman and Robin, whatever the hell it was. No. That people at my sister company thought I didn't like movies when they read my review. I put director in quotes every time.
Right.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I actually like the idea of going with the approach that She is a horror film, with the ghosts and everything like that, and to make it and tap into that genre.
You could probably convince me of that, but I hate that idea.
Really? Oh,
yeah, absolutely.
With the
my goodness. But I actually, I think, but Billy has just said, and it's taken a long time. You've all heard it here first. Is brilliant because horror is talent proof in the sense that you don't need names. The Blumhouse movies prove it. And in fact, when they do ones that do have big names or do have expensive IP, I mean, look at this terrible Exorcist Believer. Those are the only ones they lose money on.
Yeah.
And so if you do a She that isn't about giant scope and scale, that is a darker or rather leans into the darker elements, which you already have innately, starting with book one of issue number one. Now you can do a contemporary story set in New York. You have ghosts. But you're not reliant on having to cast name actors, which blows the budget up. And you can actually make the film for a budget where people are willing to take more risks. They're willing to take more risks with horror films than they are with superhero films. Absolutely. Yeah. They think that the audiences will only accept a superhero film that the budget is at least $150 million. And then they will upscale the film to achieve it. They will say no. They'll actually say the first draft of the script isn't expensive enough.
Yes.
We need 3 bigger sequences. So that we can spend $150 million, $200 million on this film. You've only given us a film that costs $40 million. How dare you?
As usual, Steve, you absolutely tap into something. We may go different directions on it, but your observations are great. One of the things that I told Billy early on was that I thought that, and this, you keep in mind, when we're talking 94, 95, 96, we are talking before there are more than just a handful of successful superhero films. Don't forget, Superman and Superman 2 lead us to Superman 3 and 4.
Yes.
We've got all those things going on. But there's no established X-Men franchise. There's no super successful Spider-Man franchise that leads us to Marvel Studios, that leads us to everything we see now. None of that's going on. Right. So I was looking at it more like darker, but a different direction. Darker, but more or less a buddy cop movie, with them being the ciphers for the audience, not believing that these She killings are going on. And you have Joe LaBianca, the older cop who just wants to survive to retire, and the younger cop who then is falling for the person who is actually doing these acts. And I was thinking like Duvall and Costner
back in the day.
Yeah, right. Back then, absolutely. I thought it would have been outstanding. And with She, it could have been somebody who could do the physical part, but it could have been a no name, a brand new star.
So I want to ask you guys a question. Who of all of the Avengers, Ryan Blevins, this is a Brian Blevins question. Who of all of the Avengers does not ever get a movie of their own?
Well, I mean, of the new actors, the Hulk didn't get he didn't get a movie of his. Mark Ruffalo didn't get a movie of his own. But I mean, if you're talking the originals, didn't they all get one?
There's someone named Scarlett Johansson who did not.
Yeah, she did.
She
Black
did.
Widow.
Oh, she did? They gave Black
yeah.
Widow.
Yeah.
Black Widow 2. They did
Oh,
2.
I'm sorry, Black Widow. That's right. That was her character. My apologies. How did Black Widow do?
Not well.
It was horrible because it was a pandemic movie that got rushed. To the screen, and she ended up suing Disney for like $1 billion.
Oh, that's right. Now I'm remembering.
Like half
Thank
$1
you.
billion.
That I forgot about. It shows you how much impact it had.
Yeah.
I thought it was decent. It introduced her sister, which was part of the storyline for the Hawkeye TV series that had Jeremy Renner, because like Jeremy Renner didn't get a movie of his own, but he got a series, which I kind of figured that. But I mean, his show was longer than Scarlett Johansson's movie. So
right, and look, and Billy's books. I mean, I certainly, since I've got involved with writing them, are very serialized. But he was always telling a very long saga. These aren't just every now and then standalone books, but he's always telling a long tale, which makes it much more conducive to where they have been more accepting of female-driven comic book adaptations, which is television, which is the streamers. I mean, I think today people are more likely take a chance on She for your screen at home than for the big screen, and in a way, ultimately, it's going to be more lucrative that way anyway.
Another great point, Steve. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing about this is there's a meme that you guys have probably all seen that goes around, and it says, "Hey, will you watch this 4-hour movie? No. Hey, will you binge this 10-hour TV show? Yes."
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I actually like the idea of television streaming. You know, I love.
She is a very intimate story. She is. I will dare say, like Lawrence of Arabia, she is an intimate epic. Because it's a very personal, intimate story told with grand fights and New York as a backdrop. But it isn't about a superhero fighting a giant ship from space or a huge force of CGI creatures running in that are going to decimate the planet. These are intimate, personal battles throughout the She-verse of decades long. So it's very conducive to either a relatively lower budgeted film, which is less likely, or a not impossible, but the better bet to me is for the streamers, because streaming shows are always sold globally as well. I mean, right now you put on Netflix, there's a whole tab of imports from India. I mean, we're getting tons of Indian.
Yeah, that's because they get them at a penny on a dollar.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it fills in space, and then they get to raise their number to over 100,000 movies on Netflix. You know, for $19.99 a month. But I will say that I think that streaming and all the multiple streaming and everyone coming to the poof realization that comic books are what people really want to see when it comes to streaming. Because, you know, Netflix had Daredevil, they had Punisher, they had, The Defenders, they had Iron Fist, like all these things kicking off during a time when people were binging all that. They started spending more money buying all these properties, thinking that all because it was a comic book and all because it was successful in comic book form, like it would have to be successful in a video sense, which unfortunately they hit a brick wall with Jupiter's Legacy, you know, which even though I thought Jupiter's Legacy was good, I mean, you can only have so many fight scenes before it has to go back to everybody just being in a regular town. I mean, that was the whole thing with Firefly. You know, Firefly was a space saga, but I mean, most of it took place on planets that looked like Earth. Yeah. There were not really, you know, laser shootouts in space and stuff like that. I don't know. It's just, I think they burnt it out, and I think that they're not willing to make as big of a bet on them. I think they're still out there looking for a good deal, but I don't think they're willing to, hedge big bets anymore.
If by a good deal you mean screwing the writers, sure, I concur.
Yes, that is exactly what I mean. Yes.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you could definitely get excitement behind a director on a She pilot. You could certainly get you can get an international cast in this. You could names that would matter to streaming. And the interesting thing about Marvel, I talked to somebody at Marvel or who used to work at Marvel, and he said, and he was on the front lines, and he said the weirdest thing is that TV, the feature people don't like the TV department, and the TV don't like features because and particularly features doesn't. I don't know if it's still the case, but this was a conversation about 2 years ago. He said that the feature division of Marvel believes that they are the reason. They are the birth of the rebirth of superhero content, and so therefore they feel they should have first dibs on everything. So they want the TV people to be treated as sloppy seconds. They hate when if TV takes an idea that has yet to have been exploited in features. There's very little sharing. There's very little sense of we're in this together to build a brand within Marvel, the Marvel Studios structure.
Yeah. Well, let's go into this. We know that Steven's a little bit under the weather.
Come on.
But let's talk. A couple of things. One, let's go with today. What's happening today? What we would prefer today. So, guys, would you guys prefer and storyline? Let's talk story.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Let's talk a little Ana Ishikawa, circa Way of the Warrior, 20-something Ana Ishikawa, or do we prefer? Let's see if I can just do this without even having to switch on.
Why does her hair look gray in that picture?
It's Black, White, and Red. It's a book called Black, White, and Red.
Thank you.
Pretty amazing, actually. Let's see if I go bigger.
Why didn't you pick bigger graphics?
I don't know why it's so small. I can go bigger. Here we go. All right. Or do we prefer the She from, the Return of the Warrior storyline? I love the story. So what do you guys think? Let's just say it's a perfect world. I'm Mr. Producer. Steve's coming in directing. What do we want to do? Do we want to do the original She Way of the Warrior storyline with a 20-something, newly arrived Japanese immigrant? Or do we like the idea of not an immigrant, of a Japanese expat, if you will, working in New York City? Or do we like the idea of the story set 20 years later with Anna is now a single mother, who has this very dark past, who is raising her teenage daughter. Her warrior days are far behind her, that it all comes back. All
right.
What do you guys?
That's a great question, and I have a further question to compound it.
I'll answer one of those questions.
TV or movies?
That's another thing.
Because my answer is going to be very different.
Yeah.
Okay.
My answer is, if it's TV, why are we making a choice? Why not do This Is Us?
Right, exactly. That's what I was going to say. I mean, Monarch is doing that right now, and it's not that that's not a terribly original thing. Others, why not tell Anna's story in different timelines
script-wise, can you imagine what you and Steve would do with that? That would be amazing.
Yeah, because if we do it with her in her 40s, then we could totally do what we're doing, going back and telling episodes of, you meet Masahiro Arashi, almost like what whatchamacallit did, Tarantino did in Kill Bill.
Mm-hmm.
When you meet one of the Vipers, whatever they called them, and then you tell that story of that particular Lucy Liu's character.
And there's so much to do, and it leaves you room to expand future seasons, that kind of stuff like that.
Yes.
And if anything, it enables you to get to Arashi's surrender, which I don't think I ever saw any villain in any other comic strip do what you did at the end of Way of the Warrior.
Yeah. Well, I had that conversation with the Mortal Kombat producer, and he was like, "So how does it end?" And I basically said, well, she loses. She gets this far, and then he defeats her. And then, and I told this beautiful poetic moment before cherry blossoms became everywhere, where a single cherry blossom just falls, and all of a sudden they all just start falling all around them, and they start going down into the little pond he has, into the little creek that he has at Arashiyama, and the cherry blossom leading to the bodies of all his men, right? And they just start being covered by these cherry blossoms, and he realizes of just how many lives he's destroyed because of this sick sense of honor that he has, and he ends up disgracing himself, breaking his sword, though the audience thinks he kills himself, and sets her free, gives her a second chance on life, and confesses to all of her crimes to get, here's this woman, for those of you who don't know the story, she's basically, she's a soldier that's been drafted into this shadow war that's existed for hundreds of years. So she kind of never had a chance almost. And he gave her that chance. And I thought what a beautiful turn, for a villain. And at the end, you see him go like this, and you see him turn it, and there's fire where he's burning the she coins and all this, and then you think that he commits seppuku, and then you see the cops, him in handcuffs, like he did it all. They walk him off, and you see a sword at the last page of one of the last pages of Way of the Warrior number 12. You see a sword, embedded into the floor, the wood floor, and it's broken, which is the biggest disgrace for a samurai. And this producer was like, wait a minute. She doesn't kill Arashi at the end? And I'm like, no. He's like, wait, she doesn't win? I'm like, no. He's like, that's unacceptable. I'm like, oh, all right. Nice meeting you. See you around.
So long.
Well, now, Christy Shin, a.k.a. Horatora Studios, is urging us to do it like The Crown, which kind of defies, each season takes us to a different era. And there was one season where, unlike the current season, where it's one continuous story about the aftermath of Diana's death, there was, I think, season 2 of The Crown were little movies.
Yeah.
Just chapters in the Queen's life. This was the tragedy that happened in Scotland and how it was handled. Done. And then we move on to another little mini movie.
Yeah.
That was a really fascinating season.
That's what I thought they.
What a wonderful idea, Christy.
Yeah, and this way you can age it.
I'm sorry, Jeff. Go ahead.
I think you're absolutely right to focus on this. I think it's a great idea, and the other opportunity there that somebody should do now that the current Amazon series is ending is Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan. They should go back and do all those stories as period pieces, moving toward the present, because the character, unlike Bond, the character grows and ages. And right. and Billy's blessed with not having 60 years of Batman continuity to try and explain. He's got one continuous story to explain, and this would be really well suited for that.
Mm-hmm.
That would be really cool.
So would you crank it out like Sherlock? Yeah. Would you crank it out like Sherlock did, like the BBC Sherlock did? Have like 3 episodes a season that were all an hour and a half long?
No.
Isn't it 10 episodes per season or something like that?
Not for BBC Sherlock.
But Sherlock was BBC and PBS. It's not a streaming analogy.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think? Who would for today? Let's just say we would do something like that. Any ideas on who you would cast if you had, you were, the puller of strings? Who would you guys have?
Well, Billy, do you have some? I assume have you put together some photos to share with us?
Yeah, I got there's something that there's a bunch of Japanese actresses. Again, and I sent that to you guys. There's one in particular that I think has an amazing look. to play Ana Ishikawa, if I could share it. Well, I'm going to share it. Of course, I can share it. It's my show, not like my.
We're not stopping you.
Here we go. So this is Nanao, I guess, Arai. And you talk about the look, and she's an actress. And I
hope so.
She's just a model. She's tall, she's thin, she's just stunning. You talk about the look. Where did she go? I don't know if these women can speak English though. But then again, if we could make it overseas and we could dub it, because some of those Korean films, Korean TV shows and stuff, they're dubbed, and I think they're fantastic.
Well, I mean, Anna. Right. I mean, Anna is has an accent.
Yeah, she would definitely have an accent. She's and you just have to see if they can actually.
And seriously, if we're talking about a streaming series, we're talking about enough money that they can get a vocal coach and learn it phonetically, if nothing else.
Boom. Is that Blevins typing again?
No, that was me. What about Japanese American? What about Japanese American actresses?
Trying to find Japanese American actresses. And it seems, unfortunately, that the pickings are kind of slim.
Yeah.
Again, going back to, do we need? Would they insist on? Herrenberg said no, that you wouldn't have to.
Look, I mean, Herrenberg, I'd like to live in your world. I really would. Unfortunately, and I don't agree with the philosophy. I don't think it's. I believe actors are actors, and I also think it's a business. But the fact is, if you're going to cast a relatively unknown person to play Anna, then you really have to lean into casting a Japanese actress. If we did have Michelle Yeoh is huge. She is too old to play Anna. But if it was Michelle Yeoh at the age when she could have, Michelle Yeoh is Chinese, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
And in the film that just won the Oscar, Everything Everywhere All at Once, she doesn't play. Does she play Chinese or does she play Korean in that? Trying to remember.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen it at all?
Yeah, I saw it. I liked it at my second attempt to watch it. But they needed her name, and the fact is that was, and they also rounded out the cast as well, with other actors who, she wasn't the only Asian actor in it. So, I do think you would have to do a talent search. I think that that she is going to be a discovery. I think that we may not even know who Anna is right now at this sitting.
Totally
and in terms of names that have to round out the international pull, I think it's going to wind up being Arashi. I think it'll wind up being the Anglo characters in New York.
Billy, modern day, right now, who's your Arashi telling in The Way of the Warrior?
Oh gosh, Ken Watanabe, I think, is probably the only one.
It's the only choice, man.
Yeah, Cary Tagawa would have been a perfect Arashi.
Just like Doctor Strange, James Hong was the only choice to play Ancient One, and they went with Tilda Swinton, of course, because you needed to make that a white woman.
Right.
Literally, like, look at the comics. It's James Hong 60 years ago.
Yes. Yes.
And it just appalling. But that said, Ken's the choice for this.
Yeah, I agree with that. Again, with the cops, if we can
put him up on the screen for those unfamiliar with him, Billy, can you find him? Or
Ken Watanabe? Sure. Yeah, definitely. I will do that.
Carrie Anna Naba could be the dancing she.
She would have been actually, if it was done back in the day, she would have been pretty terrific too. She was in Austin Powers. She was one of the twins, the Fook You and Fook Me. Let me share the screen. Let me stop screen here and share with a new screen.
Hey, we're getting votes for Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan's Chinese. Are we going with, actors of Japanese descent, or again,
No,
I don't.
I'm sorry. With Arashi, you have to go with somebody who's a freaking great actor. Jackie Chan's fun to watch. He can't do that role.
Yeah. And again, I thought, I actually based the character off of Cary Tagawa when I created with him in mind, who would have been a great, actor, and even Yoshitora was, Toshiro Mifune, who was still alive, who's still with us, or that actor Mako or Mako, however you would pronounce his name.
Mako is not still with us.
No, he's not. He's not. This is 30 years ago when I was putting this all together.
Yes.
I think Ken Watanabe would be fantastic as Masahiro Arashi. He could speak English. Arashi's been in the United States for 10, 15, 20 years. I don't think we've ever we ever disclosed that at the time of The Way of the Warrior. But I think he would be great.
Such a good actor.
Yeah. Now here's the Memoir of a Geisha. That's from like 2005 or something. Let's see what it says. Yeah, 2005. And that film didn't do well commercially. But I wonder if there was any, and again, that's 20 years ago almost. So there really wasn't much of an uproar, as as Steve is saying, or just a concern.
Well, there actually was at the time that this. Well, first off, the film was from a director who just won Oscars, been nominated for Oscars, and then he cast across multiple Asian countries for this story. They were, and that was criticized at the time. I think the reason the movie didn't do business is it's kind of movie that needed to be well reviewed in order to put butts in the seats, and it just didn't get the reviews.
Right.
It was a bit melodramatic for my blood. So it's one of the few movies I walked out on.
Oh, really?
Well, you know what? It's easy to walk out on a free screening.
Yeah.
I went to see it during awards season at the Directors Guild, and I was just laughing too much, and I wasn't supposed to be. It sort of seemed like, I just didn't think he was doing a very good job directing this thing. I was just over the top, and I looked at my date and I said, "Do you want to go?" Yes. So we left.
Okay. Thank God. Well, this looks fantastic. Shogun, that's coming the end of February.
Oh, I don't know about this. Okay.
Oh yeah, I can go big with it. I don't want to put the sound on because I don't want to get struck.
Now, what is this on? What network?
What's Shogun going to be on? Let me see.
Is this James Clavell Shogun?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a remake of Shogun. Now that actor right there. Now look at her. She is Ana Ishikawa, I believe her name is.
FX. Okay, so it's going to be an FX Hulu thing.
Yeah, and it's look at. I mean, and this is, if this does well, this could be great for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And again,
Marcus Killigrew said Chloe Bennett would be good to play She. Like, she doesn't have any Asian descent that I know of, but she does have that look to her. And also you have Jessica Henwick.
Yeah, well, that's not going to work. That's not going to happen. They're not going to cast a Caucasian actress.
Well,
or an African American actress
you also have Jessica Henwick, who would be one of my choices. She was Colleen Wing in Iron Fist.
One of the only redeeming features of that show.
Yeah, she was amazing, and she already has the sword skill. So,
well, they could be taught that. But but this looks great. Shogun looks fantastic.
And
Very excited about
it. Do you remember the impact of that series when it was on? People today can't understand it.
I tell people about Shogun, and they don't know what I'm talking about.
Really?
I mean, it blows my mind.
They can't understand that like on appointment television, we'd book a week for something like that.
Wow.
Now, who is she?
This is the woman that's starring in Shogun.
Okay.
It says she's a New Zealand, born in New Zealand. Oh, what a tough job we have.
This might be interesting in terms of Heroenberg's thought. Is she I assume she's of Japanese. Let's look her up.
It sounds Japanese, so why it sounds it with the AI at the end. My dog is doing some. Asha, forgive me. I don't know if she's chasing the cat.
She was born in New Zealand.
Yeah, so, but Ninja Assassin, come on. Pachinko, one of Steve Perros' favorite games. She was in one of Fast and the Furious 9, the Fast Saga. So, who knows?
Yeah, but I'd say we consider her anyway.
Yeah, let's consider her. Okay, let's put her. I'm going to write her down. Let's get her agent to send us some. And you know what? Let's just pin. I got this headshot here. Let's just.
I gotta go, guys. I gotta get back to work.
All right,
give you that obligatory hour. It was awesome seeing all of you guys, especially Steve Perros, writer creator of Stoker and Wells.
Great man, thank
awesome
you.
Seeing you guys.
Take care.
See you later, Tex. Yeah.
By the way, it's AnnaSaai is of Japanese descent. She's born to Japanese parents, but she was born in New Zealand.
Bye, chat.
Later, buddy. Oh, well, there you go. See, that's
they would never. Yes, again, Shogun. I mean, this decidedly Japanese tale. If it's going to be redone in 2024, which it has been, they are going to take great pains to cast Japanese actors in the Japanese roles.
Right.
As Billy learned the hard way, that all when a attempt was made at doing an audio presentation of She. That all Asian accents don't sound alike.
Right. We have a super chat, 200-watt studio, $5. Thank you. They can never replicate John Rhys Davies bellowing Japanese language in the original Shogun.
I feel relatively certain that that's a safe prediction.
Yeah.
That show was so great, though.
Yeah, it sure was.
Wow.
Now, was that Mifune in that too? Who played the Shogun? I have it on VHS. I have a box set on in.
Do you even have a VCR
box set over there somewhere? But okay, now what about this, guys? You know, we're talking film, we're talking television. What about anime? What about animation?
Well, if it's animation, you're talking. It increases your range of actors. Who can do the right voice?
Yes.
All it takes is an exceeding amount of talent, and it's a lot more open there. There's in the anime world, there's a tremendous number of voice actors, both of Asian descent and Americans, born and bred, that do the voiceover, that do the American voices for anime. And the conventions are full of those guys and gals. Yeah. And so the opportunities there are created. And then and just as we were talking before, it's a matter of budget. Is this small budget? Then it could be a bunch of nobodies and it relies on the story. If it's a bigger budget, it relies on some familiar voices. I think
Billy, I'm sorry. Over the years, no one in the anime world has come to you about She?
Yes, at San Diego Comic-Con, we met a great director and producer. I don't know if I should say his name or not. He does all the Marvel and DC. He's the director and producer of a lot of the Marvel and DC stuff. His name's, we'll just say his name's Jay. Great guy, someone I would love to work with. But he's like, well, if we want to we can make a 1-minute trailer. It costs us $100,000. Maybe we could raise $100,000 for a 1-minute trailer or a show. I'm like, I don't know. Get my books out. But there is an idea that, again, as I was saying, we are talking to a couple of producers now. We have actually an offer, and I'm sure that they would be interested in talking to someone doing an animated, because animation, if you can do an animation, it comes out. Someone's mentioning Blue-Eyed Samurai, right? There you go. Art of Roy. Hey, you doing, Roy? Blue-Eyed Samurai is a model for how to go with animation. People love it. I haven't seen it yet, but people love it.
It is. It was Toshiro. You remembered correctly.
Yeah. And it's a great again, with animation based on the comic book, it becomes an animated series or something like that. That's a hit. Then that's a nice stepping stone up towards Perros World, you know, to maybe a film or a
Is that
series.
like Westworld, only different?
Yeah, again, I'm open to everything. The only thing I'm not open to is to fund it myself, to crowdfund it myself and try to make it myself.
No.
I had a conversation with someone about that, and he's like, "Well, let's talk." I'm like, "Not interested. I want someone to pay me to do it, and I want, I want someone to option it for me. I would love to get hired on as a producer. If I could somehow work with Steve, this is part of things to write it. I want to be, if it's a television series, it's created by me and someone else, not unlike what Kirkman did with Walking Dead, which was brilliant because again, I have a family and stuff like that, and I want some sense of control over it. And not to let it walk away, and then who knows what the fuck they'd end up doing with it. But I love the idea of animation. Again, as you said, it really opens your pool to creators, to voice actors. You wouldn't even necessarily need, Japanese actor or actress. Or if you do score, you get Ken Watanabe as Arashi to do the voiceover. How great is that? So or the voice, what would it be? A voiceover? What would that be? What would they be?
The voice acting.
Voice actor. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Then you could go across. Then the age of the actor doesn't matter.
Right. Yep.
Just the drawing does. So.
Yeah. So again, just thinking who we would do. We'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on it. Again, I would love the idea of doing a She animated film, a series. And we'll see what happens. Hopefully we'll have some.
Is there a style in particular? Is there a movie or an anime? Yeah.
Thank you. I'm gonna hit that right now with what the anime that I love. This is gonna blow your mind, Steve. This is gonna blow everyone's mind. They're gonna love this. Everyone's gonna love this, Steve. I'm gonna hit it right here. From 1990. It's from 1992 or 1993. And let's share. I don't know if you ever seen this, Steve. It's fantastic. I own a couple of cells actually from it. Ninja Scroll. What a great film. I love the style that they if you could see this, Steve, here. They're taller. They're not the big-eyed, dumb looking. The character's a lot more elegant. They're elongated, as I said. Let's see if I can find something here. And look at that. Look how badass that is there. Oh, this is the evil one. But just beautiful. The women are great looking. The men look like manly men. I own a thing with her in it. That's the type of style that I would prefer. Is something like that. Is the Ninja Scroll style. I'm not crazy about the Sailor Moon, big-eyed, cutesy stuff. I like it more, like this, like the one in the center here.
Now, how did this show do? Is it still on?
It was a film. It was a film. Oh. It was huge, if I remember.
Well, why not reach out to the creators, to the people who
Japanese anime company? I don't even, it's from like I said, this is 30 years old.
Oh, geez.
But it's really great. Classic anime. Gorgeous. Old Bean, have you ever seen it?
I have not.
No, it's really terrific. Really terrific. I highly recommend it. Everyone, like I said, cult classic. I'm sure it did great in Japan, and it came out here just on VHS and stuff like that. I love to watch it again and DVD. Good stuff, real good stuff. Yeah, see Daniel Russell, top 3 of all time. So great stuff. I think he did Crying Freeman as well, maybe. I don't know, who knows, but that could be fun. That would be fun. I kind of would love to even do that because I'd feel so much safer because I don't trust them. Steve, you know my adventures in Hollywood.
Oh, I do, Billy.
Have the worst. I just had the worst adventure, just the worst engagements, and I come back, and I'll stay at Steve's place, and even when they offer me a hotel, I'd rather sleep, on his couch, because it's just I don't want to owe them anything, but it's a weird place. I give you a lot of credit, my friend, for
Well, thank you, very kind.
for being, for doing it for so long and being as successful as you have been.
Well,
But
I mean, she has got to get made. We now continue there continue to be sources for it to be made. There continue to be successes that show it should be made. We just need to get someone leading the charge on it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Peros from Herrenberg, the great. You got to meet this guy. He's an awesome guy. Actually, Toho co-produced Ninja Scroll, and it became a huge influence on the Wachowskis for The Matrix.
Wow, thank you for that. I did not know that.
Yeah, it's a fun watch. I'm sure it's on YouTube now that you could probably watch it. Real good stuff. Great sound effects, great action. Really, like an overall terrific film. I haven't seen it, like I said, in probably 25 years.
I'm assuming it's in some better format than VHS these days, Billy.
Yeah, it's got to be. No, it's got to be. Or it's. I'm sure you could stream it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at Castlevania. Yes, absolutely. There's so many good anime out there. It's just I just don't like the cutesy stuff. Not especially for this.
Yes,
I love the horror aspects. We've been writing a lot of horror aspects into She, with the ghosts. With of course. Let me share that. Where am I? Let's go back. Hang on. The evil Dr. Blevins, who I think Jonathan Sheck should play him. Is that how we say his name, Old Bean? Sheck?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Shake. Yeah.
Yeah, Shake. I think he would be cool. Again, it depends on how big of a film. It depends on, who, all that stuff. But
this is the great thing. There's a lot of little character moments throughout all the series that have elements where you could grab. He'd be great at that. Come on,
he would be great as Blevins, I think.
And
Yep.
and
him or Sarandon from Fright Night at that.
The great thing, seriously, the great thing about that would be if we were on set, we would absolutely drive him insane with quotes from That Thing You Do.
Totally, yeah, 100%, 100%. But
what was it that he said when you had him call me? And it was exactly what you said I'd say. I can't even remember.
Oh, I don't remember. But I met him at a con. He actually came over, and I said, "You have to talk to my friend right now." And he's like, "Okay." And we called Jeff. I'm like, "Jeff, you got to talk to this guy."
I fully 2/3 of my conversations with Billy are quotes from That Thing You Do.
Yeah.
This was Jonathan Shake or somebody else?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
At the Baltimore Comic-Con. He's a Baltimore native.
That's awesome.
And his Blevins. So let's share that. The character of Brian Blevins. Good stuff, man. There he is. There's Brian, Dr. Blevins.
I mean, we imagined him as a very, handsome guy with a really dark, so that you don't expect it to turn out the way it does. This is kind of him, his darkness revealed. But when he first meets her, we actually are rooting for romantic sparks between Anna and this guy.
Because he's suave at first, sure.
Yes, very charming, brilliant
all that stuff. Yeah.
He's like Peter Gallagher back in the day.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so guys, we've been going for over an hour. I wanted to go for an hour. Steven doesn't feel well. Guys, anything you want to pitch? You want to promote? Anything you can share?
Well,
what's going on?
I'll hit it and then I'll let JC take it from there. This is my original graphic novel. I'm very proud of the book work that I did with Billy. In between doing book 1 of Stoker and Wells and book 2, I did the She trilogy, and now we are completing Stoker and Wells' Ashes of Revenge. Stoker and Wells' Order of the Golden Dawn is available on Amazon. We will be opening up an Indiegogo store when we actually have physical copies of Stoker and Wells' Ashes of Revenge in hand. I have a monster movie book out now. Oh, wait, why is it? There it is.
Oh, I have.
called Giant Beast Cinema, which I am proud to have edited and written 8. Yes, that's right, 8 chapters on.
Steve, that's on Amazon too, right?
That's on Amazon.
Yeah.
We were actually in the top. We debuted in the top 10 in Amazon for horror movie books. Very proud of that book. 6 writers. I'm one of 6 writers who cover 33 films, ranging from War of the Gargantuas to King Kong to Jack the Giant Killer to Village of the Giants. All sorts of really Harryhausen. Ray Harryhausen films like.
I didn't get you a Jack the Giant Killer chapter. Right?
Yeah, it's a follow-up to a book that reached #1 on Amazon called Giant Bug Cinema that I participated in as a reviewer. And when that did so well and we got nominated for a Rondo Award, I said, why don't we do a follow-up about giant creatures that are anything but bugs? And that led to Giant Beast Cinema.
Yes.
So both books are on Amazon. Very proud of both. I am more of the caretaker and contributor to the second one, but Giant Bug Cinema is also a wonderful, wonderful read. And just working on assorted other film, TV projects, a musical, spread a little thin, but doing my best to not get the kind of cold I got this week.
How's the Wyant book coming?
Very good. I've been the most immersed in the last couple of weeks. So it's going really well.
What are you doing?
H.M. Wynant. I'm doing memoirs, his memoirs.
Wow.
So it's just fast. H.M. Wynant is somebody who starred in the original classic Twilight Zone. He did every TV show you can imagine all through the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. He's in classic Batman. He's in 6 episodes of Gunsmoke. He's in 9 episodes of He's been in Get Smart. He's been in Hogan's Heroes.
Ricardo Montalban to his death.
Yes, he's in Conquest for the Planet of the Apes. He's in Elvis. He's the villain in Elvis's It Happened at the World's Fair. But one of the things that's fascinating when you really go through somebody's credits like that, and you look at actual dates, particularly when he did live TV dramas and a lot of live TV shows in the late 50s. In the mid to late 50s, first in New York, then LA, you realize how busy these actors were.
Yeah.
I mean, he was doing New York theater at night in a hit shows like Tea House on the August Moon, which ran for 4 years. And in the day he was doing live TV, and then he'd have to take a cab or quickly get to the theater to make it by 5, by curtain time.
Yeah.
But these guys were I said, HM, you never stopped in 59 and 60. You never stopped working. You literally never stopped working. In particular, those 2 years. That was his year of Twilight Zone. The year of so many classic things. Live TV with George C. Scott and Ricardo Montalban. They did about an attempted assassination of a fictitious South American dictator. It's called Target for Three. 3 guys who try to take down this leader, and those 3 are Ricardo Montalban, George C. Scott, and HM. So I got 3 shots with those guys. I'm like sitting there going, this is mind blowing. So
and how old is HM now?
HM on February 12th will turn 97.
Wow, God bless.
God bless. And still ambulatory, getting around, going here, going there on his own 2 feet.
Guys, I get to meet him at one of the cons.
Billy?
Yes.
Christy has a question for Steve.
All right, let's first of all, I'm going to read. We have 2 super chats.
Also.
Thank you very much, Aaron Sleeper, $1.99. How about Donald Loge? Right, Loge and
Donald Log, I think.
How is it?
As La Bianca. All right, he doesn't have to be he's not a romantic character. I think in terms of if you have to, I think if you're casting a solid actor, I think he would be good. I think though you could get somebody namier if that was necessary. But sure, I think he's a Turk. How could I not like him? He starred in the Tao of Steve.
No, yes, of course. And Evil One for $2 super chat. Thank you so much. Just make a She animated series. Real people suck. Thank you so much for
Hard
that.
to argue that point.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, and our friend Alma. Hey, Alma, how are you? Great to see you, honey. Great to see you.
Put up Christy's question for Steve.
Christy's question for Steve.
Right above Evil One's post.
All right. Wait, Order of the Golden Dawn, like the Crowley Order, Steve?
Yes. At the time of my story, which takes place in 1893, Crowley would have been, I think, 12 years old or 8 years old. But it would eventually be but it is the same organization. In later years, Aleister Crowley, but yes, the Order of the Golden Dawn, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, existed in Victorian England in the late 1800s. It is the very same Order of the Golden Dawn that Aleister Crowley would basically commandeer when his time came. Yes, the very same Golden Dawn, and that is very much. I'm actually developing that as a TV series with the former president of Marvel Studios and his new company, Amasia. And part of what we're doing is we're actually doing we're rejiggering the show to focus a lot on the Golden Dawn, even more so than the graphic novel does, because there are more story opportunities there, more characters than just Stoker and Wells. So yeah, it is a focal point of both books, and will especially be a focal point in the TV series.
Excellent, outstanding, my friend.
Thank you.
Question for you though, Steve. You want to put it into the Indiegogo in demand mode once the book is done? Why don't you put it in before that and try to?
Well, because I did already. I did raise funds from Indiegogo, and I didn't. I basically raised. Indiegogo, you could take home what you want.
Yeah.
So I did Indiegogo first, since Indiegogo you take what you make. And then, because I knew what the budget was, and then I said, okay, I'll do Indiegogo first, see what I make there, and then I will subtract from what I really need, and then this way I can go with a lower figure for Kickstarter. And it worked out. We wound up raising the money that we needed. But what I did, I shot myself in the foot at Indiegogo. Indiegogo only lets you roll into the store if you meet or exceed your target. So I should have done one of those things where I'm just raising $500,
Yeah.
and then they would have given me a store. So what I can do is do a new campaign.
Yeah.
Once the book is complete.
Yeah, second chance or something like that.
Well, look, I wound up doing that. I got another 10 grand off of Indiegogo with the finished book, and so that worked out really well for everybody.
And we will definitely help you with that too.
Thank you. Yes, but yeah, it was two good campaigns. Billy's cover is extraordinary. The book is coming along well. We are moving forward. Taking a little longer than they anticipated, but all for good reason. But we are moving for Barry. Literally, while I was sitting here, Barry Orkin just sent me another page. So it is.
So apparently, you should come on more often.
Yeah.
To get more
Yes.
Exactly. No two ways about it. So,
all right, and for me out there, guys, we have, speaking of in demand, we successfully funded She, the 30th anniversary original art edition on Indiegogo and Kickstarter. Thank you to our Kickstarter backers. Thank you for our Indiegogo backers. Here we are on Indiegogo. We're over $32,000. Thank you, guys. It's been a fun campaign. I know it's a specialized book. And I think you guys are gonna love it. It's truly the story of She, number one. How I ended up putting this comic book together. You have all the original art pages of the book. Most of the art has never been seen before. All the original black and white inks.
As original black and white pages, you mean?
Yep. Yes. All the original black and white pages, the original color pages, because Barry Orkin, who is illustrating the new Stoker Wells and the previous Stoker Wells series graphic novel. Is Barry hand painted the pages. So you're going to see those for the first time ever in all their glory, and 1200 DPI super scans, remastered. And if you guys can support us, we truly appreciate it. This book should be going to the press, Old Bean, I think the end of next week.
I think that's fantastic. And one of the things that I really enjoyed about it is, obviously, we've talked about the self-involved version of how this really motivated me over the years. But the interview we did, I think, is really good, because we brought together a bunch of different stories that you've told in multiple places and worked it into a chronology. And I think people are really going to enjoy it.
And for those who don't know, Barry Orkin not only drew both of these books, he did not color the books, but he did draw, ink, and color both of these covers you see behind me. He is a man of many talents.
Yes, and Aaron Sleeper, he's got a fun quote here. The four coolest guys who ever lived: Steve McQueen, Steve Garrett, Steve Austin, and of course, Steve.
Thank you. Listen, sir, a cool man only know one thing to say, and that is thank you.
Yes, and I'm gonna share something else right here, right now. Oh, hang on a second. Apologies. I gotta hang on. I gotta cut and I gotta copy it. Copy. Go here. Paste.
And JC, while he's doing that, to tell everybody what you're working on.
Yeah,
sir.
that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm sharing.
I am just getting ready to launch Al Capone Vampire number 0. It's also Vampire PA number 0. It's
0.
It's got the origin of one of the detective characters in Al Capone, whose beef with Al Capone goes back to his great grandfather in the days of Prohibition. It's our first jump backwards in the Capone story. It also has the origin story of Dean and the vampire queen Jocelyn, their first meeting in a Miami hotspot that leads to him becoming a vampire hunter. So that's the Vampire PA portion of it. And it also has the first preview of this summer's Captain Action versus Al Capone Vampire.
Shut up.
You are out of control. You are a writing, orchestrating, supervising machine, my friend. These Al Capones are coming fast and furious, and they're not sacrificing quality. Tremendous work on your part, sir. You are inspired. You are divinely inspired from beyond the Alka grave.
I thank you, Steve. I've had a lot of fun on this, and part of the thing is, Brendan and Brian Frame do such great artwork, and honestly, this is one of those things where they're in such a groove where every page I get is better than the last one, and they were great to start with. Mm-hmm. It's really cool. Mindy's doing a great job lettering them. Covers, we've got this time John K. Snyder III, colored by Brian Miller there on the first one. The Tales from the Crypt number 36 homage in the middle is Brendan and Brian Frame, colored by Mort Todd. And then the Vampire PA cover, which is a scene right out of the story, is by Gene Gonzalez, one of my oldest collaborators who I hadn't worked with in a few years. And he's also got a story in my Free Comic Book Day issue from Overstreet this year. And he both illustrated and colored that piece. Excellent. And so we're open now for the sign up page on Kickstarter. We'll have the Indiegogo up, I imagine Sunday night. I don't know if I'm going to get any time before then. I was stunned, Bill. You know how we've been talking about the approval times on Kickstarter?
Mm-hmm.
3 minutes.
Oh, all right. You're moving up in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I had that. The only one that was faster than that was when I did Vampire PA Bite Out a Crime, which introduced Al Capone Vampire, and I submitted it at like 2:33 at night, and it was approved in 2 minutes. But that was before the pandemic.
Right.
The last time it said 3 days, and it took 8. This time it said 8 days and took 3 minutes.
And that was Kickstarter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, I maybe because we're not going for some huge amount or something. I have no idea the reason, and I'm not complaining. Right. But if people want to sign up, that really helps. We had a good turnout for Al Capone number 3, and if we can get that for this project, I think people are going to be really happy with the product. It's got 2 really solid stories plus the great teaser for Captain Action versus Al Capone Vampire, which I think we're managing to do without violating either character's tone. I really think we're going to pull it off. The teaser's just excellent. Listen to me talking about my own work, but the guys are just killing it.
I bet. And guys, here's the sign up. Thank you, Evil One, for sharing that. It's in the chat, guys. Or you could just Google it. Here's another thing for both of you guys as well. And me too. I haven't done it yet, just because Debbie is just overwhelmed by doing 2 campaigns two platforms at the same time. Do it on Fund My Comic.
Yeah, Marcus, I think that's a really great suggestion. I went through a bunch of hoops trying to sign up on there when they were really early, and it just kept on looping me back to the same page, and it was sort of really frustrating. So I figured I'd let them get their bugs worked out. Maybe this will be the time to take a look at it. I certainly don't know why any of us would ignore any revenue stream. Right,
100%. Use all the assets out there to our
no, absolutely,
our advantage. And they're great guys over there. Great people. So
I tried to post a link for Stoker and Wells. For some reason, it says the comment has failed to post to PopXP network. Why would it do that to me?
Put in the private chat.
Yeah, I put it in the private chat, but I did it in.
All right, I got it right here. Let's grab that. Steve, look, check out. I know that a lot of people are on Fund My Comic now. They are.
I will do that. Thank you.
Yeah, check out Fund My Comic, but let's paste this right now, Steve, for you real quick.
I know that one of Mike Barron's comic. Matter of fact, it was Mike Barron's comic, his Western that he did with Pat Broderick, that I had such trouble with. That made me say, "Hey, I'll wait and I'll try these guys later."
Look at your rating here, Mr. Peros.
Well, that's very kind.
No 1 stars.
That's
right. I got a question. What idiot didn't give it a 5-star?
I know.
All right, sorry, I don't mean to sound so harsh.
Oh, somebody did. Someone who does who really liked it, but was a little perturbed by the Golden Dawn and what it stood for. It's like I can't help it. That's just what it is.
It is. What a great illustration by
the
amazing Barry Orkin.
Seriously,
can you put that? Can you drop that link into the live, Billy?
Sure can.
For a debut graphic novel, you kicked ass.
Yes, sir, you did.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir, you did.
No,
so
and
there
most small participation in your part, my friend, as our editor in chief. Thank you. I learned a lot from the two gentlemen here, where I learned the most about comic books from you two gentlemen.
Yep. And if you just go on and you guys can find this too easy, go to Amazon, type in Stephen Peros. Yep. If you're not happy with Stoker and Wells Order of the Golden Dawn, 96 page. How many pages?
96 glorious pages for $20. You can't beat that.
No. And if not, you can always get Darling Venom, an enemies to lovers romance for $4.99.
And on that note,
you probably can add that to it. It's got just as good as a rating as Stoker and Wells.
There you go.
You just can't make that stuff up.
No.
Anyway, guys, what a great show. Thank you all for supporting us. We truly appreciate it. Thank you guys for supporting the She 30th anniversary, She #1 30th anniversary original art edition. 2024 is She's 30th anniversary. We've got a lot of great things coming out, a lot of special editions. Namely, we will be launching at the end of February, maybe early March. We'll see. I'd like to get the art done. JC Vaughn and I will be putting out She Gatecrasher, which is a true love letter to comics and the spirit of creator-owned work as she gets trapped in comic book time and has to battle her way through the various decades and genres to get back home. And that will follow up. That is following up in the spring with Steve Peros and I will be bringing either a 2 books or maybe another trilogy, working on some titles. One of them is I'm leaning, Steve and I haven't had too in-depth a conversation about this, but it probably, if we're looking at March, maybe for June, the Ghost with the Green Eyes. I like that title. Which would be followed up by She Battleship Island. And we'll see what happens. And
that takes Ana Ishikawa to Japan.
Back to Japan.
That's right.
Back to Japan. So
in July, celebrating the 30th anniversary of She and of Lady Death, Billy has done the covers for the Overstreet Comic Book Price Guide.
Yep.
Wow.
Twin covers that match up to form one bigger image of Lady Death and She.
Yep. And that can you order that still, or did that pass?
That is no. Matter of fact, it actually has not been in preview yet. You can find it on the Gemstone homepage if you're not near a comic shop. But it'll be in the April previews along with another cover, and it'll be out the Wednesday of San Diego preview night, which I believe is July 24th.
Oh, that's terrific. Yep, and here we go. So this is it. This is the Lady Death cover. Where is this even?
Yeah, just scroll down a little. You can find both covers.
Yep, there's both covers right there. So that's the cover that I did. Thank you, Old Bean, for this wonderful opportunity. It was great to draw these two characters. I gifted this art.
Listen, I said this a little bit the other night when I was on the Steven Semino show. Here's the thing about this. We're talking about a protracted period of time during which established characters from Marvel and DC have come and gone, and you guys have weathered the storms, and there have been plenty, and here you guys are with your visions and your characters.
Yeah, and we're still here.
Got to be celebrated,
gentlemen. I have to bid you a fond farewell. It's been
all right, my friend. Yeah, we're gonna close up.
Steve.
Bye. See you. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you, everybody. I loved your comments. Thank you for pitching in. Thanks for doing research during the show. Really awesome. Hope to meet each and every one of you at some point. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you. And here's something that just makes our day. Look at Walter, the great Walter Simonson. Thank you, sir. Teen sensation.
How cool is that?
How cool is that? Of course. Didn't you know that I was teen sensation Billy Tucci? Lead guitarist, singer, songwriter of the Oneaters.
That's just
anyway. Thank you, Jeff.
How's that? Okay, I don't know. I mean, literally, we should end the show right now because how does it get better than we got?
I know it doesn't. Guys, thank you so much, everyone in the chat, everyone on Facebook watching. We had a great show. Put in the chat, put in the comments. Let's hear who you guys would cast for a she-film, or if you prefer live action to television. I loved Christie's idea about doing it like The Crown.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, whether it's The Crown or This Is Us, the different eras have to be recognized.
Yeah,
and there's a real thing, and Christy, absolutely a great suggestion.
Yes, it was.
So at any rate.
And casting, thank you, sir. Thank you. Well, you be well, everyone. Everyone up here in the Northeast, we're gonna get a wicked storm coming.
Oh, it's gonna be a lightweight storm.
I know it is. I just try to amp up the drama.
What do you want to be, a weatherman?
All about. Maggie Q is gorgeous. Yes, I love her. Anyway, so thank you guys for joining us tonight. We will see you next week. I will be on the Professionals. Which will be hosted by Dan Fraga. And I don't know what we're going to be talking about. And then, of course, next week we'll have another Thursday Night Live with Billy Tucci. We'll see what kind of tomfoolery and ballyhoo we could bring up with that. So everyone have a great night. Looking forward to seeing you all at the shows this year. I'm going to be doing a couple of them. And definitely San Diego Comic-Con is going to be great. Christy, I hope you're going. Let's all do dinner again. So thank you guys. Everyone have a great night. And Old Bean, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Indeed. Good night, everybody.
Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining us on PopXP. If you haven't already, make sure to click that subscribe button and also click the bell for notifications when we go live and we upload some awesome new content. Also, don't forget to head on over to Twitter and follow us at thepopxp and over on Instagram at thepopxp. Thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you.